biggest one is obviously the racism issue that's keeps rearing its head for whatever reason. It's difficult. It's very difficult to kind of wake up to or to watch every day. You know, issue with Glenn Kamara last week, Kemar Roof, who I grew up with, in fact, and to see the senseless. I don't think I have to say it's senseless, isn't it? The stuff that's going on, and it's like you said, it's like we keep saying it changes to be made, but the authorities need to crack down on this massively, because it's just what they're doing is just they're not really doing anything, to be honest. They're basically doing what we could do, just put out a statement or give a little fine, but what's that actually doing? It's doing nothing. So they need to really take a strong stance with everything that's going on, to make sure that it's eradicated, because I think some of these people are actually putting out the comments are actually just doing it for attention, because you realize that every day you wake up and it's happened, like, or you're watching a game and you think, oh, he might not be having the best game, and straight away my thought is, you know what, he's going to get racially abused tomorrow. And you shouldn't be thinking like that. But then I think on the flip side, you probably have people going, oh, he's having a bad game, you know what, if I send like racial abuse to him or send this emoji to him, he'll pop up on the news tomorrow, and they're probably saying to their friends, oh, that was me, that was me. And I don't know if it's the whole like social media generation, or I don't know what it is, but social media platforms need to do more. Authorities need to do more. There's a big argument at the minute with taking a knee, whether it's right to take the knee or to not take the knee. My viewpoint at the minute is I've stopped taking a knee, because like, not that I think it served its purpose, but we're taking a knee every week, and it's visually, we're showing solidarity, we're showing that we're together. But are the authorities doing enough to show that they're standing with us by giving tougher punishments? I don't think they are.
I think Les Ferdinand, so Les spoke about it. He said, it was a good gesture to start with. Now it's kind of lost its meaning, and we want actions to follow it. And you've got so many great players that have come through, the Andy Coles, the John Barnes. And do you think they're highlighting their achievements enough, or is the highlight of the abuse that they're suffering overshadowing their achievements and causing this vicious circle to keep going around?
Oh, 100%. And I think even sometimes the news platforms, I know they're there to obviously try to help the narrative and help narrative in terms of equality and no, like, say no to racism and all that. But then we all know that negativity sells more than positivity. So when the racism comes up, it's the first thing that you see all the time. And so definitely, I think their actual achievements and their accolades should be talked about more. But one thing I do think is important in this, and regardless of whether you believe taking a knee is important or not, or it serves its purpose or not, the conversation is still open, and that's what I think is still important. So people talking about why we're taking a knee, or people that are like myself who don't want to take a knee, the conversation is still open. So people are asking, why are you not taking a knee? And then you can have that conversation and go, this is what I believe. And you're still talking, because it still needs to be kept into the forefront until something is drastically changed in terms of the authorities clamping down properly. Because if we just keep taking a knee initially, I think it might just be brushed under the carpet. We're doing something, and then it gets forgotten about. It can't be forgotten about. It has to be kept at the forefront. So the authorities know this issue is not going away. It's unacceptable. Racism is unacceptable at any time, but people keep going on. This day and age, it doesn't matter, it's unacceptable at any time. But in this day and age, we've now got more of a voice, and that change needs to come with our voice.
I understand. Hopefully, people like yourself who are putting yourself in a position now to try and challenge, can get your voices out there. Like, you're a very well-spoken man, a lot of footballers get stick for not being very intelligent, but you know, I've watched a lot of your interviews. I've seen you over the years, and you articulate yourself so well. And it's, you know, if anybody's going to make a change, it's people like yourself that can represent us going forward. So, you know, the conversation, like you said, it's still open, and I hope that everyone's views can be heard from their point of view, and you know, racism can be tackled in the best way.
The responsibility of everybody, isn't it? Not just the responsibility of footballers. It's not just the responsibility of black footballers. It's the responsibility of everybody in society to make this change. And I don't think there's enough people taking that responsibility. And they were talking about this on TalkSport the other night, that once upon a time, racism was back page headlines. Now it's a little snippet in the newspaper because it's happening so often. It seems to be happening every single week. That's almost losing its shock factor. And because it's losing its shock factor, there's now people out there that aren't afraid to send these messages, because again, it's just, oh, it's just another one. It's just another one. And I think that needs to be addressed as well. You know, it can't lose its shock factor. It needs to be tackled head on. And it can't just be a case of, oh yeah, it's now just a part of society. It's now just a part of game. It can't be a part of anything.
Yeah. 100% agree with that, Carl, and I think that's where, like I said, the authorities need to come in and go. If they came in and they're right, if someone's found guilty or of doing that, so for example, Instagram go, you have to put your details in your passport, whatever it is, before you sign up. It's a tough one, because you don't want people to then go, right, because it, like, only doing it because they're obviously racist anyway. Keeping those views and hiding those views, because we need to educate those kind of people. But at the same time, you need to they would obviously definitely think twice about voicing those views openly and publicly. But if the authorities do clamp down and give a big punishment, a fine or imprisonment, whatever it is, I'm sure they'd think twice about doing what they're doing. And at the same time, they'd think there's a reason why it's such a tough sentence or such a tough punishment for it. And it's because it's wrong. It's like, anyone that doesn't think it's wrong is, listen, that I don't know what to say for them. And people do need educating, but that's where the authorities need to bring in those punishments, so that people know that you can't do these things. Otherwise, they think, oh, I can do it and I'll get away with it, because the punishment doesn't match the crime.
So I think some people, what they're missing the point of, for me, is that, yes, you've got the guys that are sending this out on social media. They're a tiny part of the problem. The percentage of the people that are putting out on social media doesn't even compare to the percentage of people who think it's acceptable just to have these jokes and have this attitude in their own social groups, in their own household, in their own societies. And that's the root of it, because these people that put the messages on social media have come from there. If you tackle it at its root, you won't have this end game of footballers and celebrities and any walk of life. Really, it doesn't matter what you do. If you're being abused because of your race, it's not acceptable. And they need to tackle it from the root of it, rather than looking at the end of it, which is a footballer getting the message, you know. And that's sometimes the only thing that's making it into the media. Is the average person that maybe is receiving this sort of abuse every single day, and they don't get the platform to talk about it because they're not famous.
Well, that's it, isn't it? It's like I say, it's equality overall. Everyone's born equal. Everyone's born the same kind of way, and that's where we've got to keep pushing that message. Got to keep pushing. I've seen a thing the other day where I think in Wales they're going to start putting in the black with Black history, more like positive Black history moments and figures. Start teaching that in the curriculum. And that's something that's a small step, but a really good step, a really big step, really, if you think about it. Because straight away, that's where education, I think a lot of things that you probably learn as a kid is, when you do hear something as a kid, it sticks with you forever. So if we can start doing that, because I think there's some people that might be unfortunately too far gone, but it's going to be a long fight. But like I said, if everyone does come together, and then I'm sure we can hopefully achieve something, not in our lifetime, I don't believe, but in future generations.
Yeah, educate.